Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Justin and today my friend Kanishka and I are filming a preview video for the upcoming 2021 US National Figure Skating Championships focusing on the men's discipline. If you have not seen my preview for the ladies, go ahead and check that out. It's already on my YouTube channel posted a few days ago. So we're just going to get right into it. This competition is being held in Las Vegas, the same venue that hosted Skate America. They will be in the bubble without spectators. And a lot of people are talking about Nathan Chen winning the national title for the fifth time. And I believe that hasn't been done since Dick Button. Am I correct?
I believe so, yes.
All right, so I want to keep this short because everyone knows I love Nathan Chen. Every year we talk about him at nationals. It seems like we say the same thing. I think it's because he's just that great and fairly consistent. Some things change from one year to the next, but this season, I think, despite the pandemic, he seems really well prepared. I'll talk a little bit about how he did at Skate America. So he won that event. It was actually not his best performance, but it was actually a great showing for any other athlete competing at the senior level or almost any other. He did not bring the quad lutz, so that was interesting. I'm wondering if we'll see it at nationals. He tends to save that jump for the more major competitions like worlds, so I'll be interested to see if it's at nationals. And he did do the quad loop at the Las Vegas Invitational, which happened right after Skate America, and that was a big surprise. We have not seen that in, I want to say, 2 seasons in competition, but he did say in a press conference I read on Twitter that that jump has not had the best success rate lately, so he'll make the decision kind of at the competition on whether or not it's put in his program. It would be in the free program, but I would hope to see it again. It looks good, and there's a buffer between him and the other men that he could afford to not be perfect on that element. What is your take on Nathan Chen this season?
Well, Nathan Chen, despite the global pandemic that we all find ourselves in, has shown that he can still skate relatively well and still include multiple quadruple jumps in his program, as we saw at Skate America and also the Las Vegas Invitational, which was held shortly right after. It'll be interesting to see exactly what program layout he ends up doing at U.S. Nationals, just because he doesn't really need the quad lutz per se, or even the quad loop to win the national championship, because he has everything else going for him. Like a consistent quad sow, quad toe, and maybe even a quad flip will probably be more than enough for him to win the title. I do. I would love to see a quad lutz from him. I would love to see a quad loop. Again, I feel like maybe the quad loop was done at the Invitational because he was on Team Terra, and as we know, Terra loved that loop jump when she was a competitor for United States figure skating. So, but if he feels comfortable, I say go for the lutz. I don't think he necessarily needs to go for the loop if it's not consistent, but considering that we are heading into the second half of the season, I don't think it hurts to give the quad lutz a try. And Nathan Chen has always proved us wrong, even back in 2018 Nationals when he was not feeling very well. He came out with 2 performances that clinched him the national title. So I expect great things. And yeah, he's going to be pretty much the clear winner of these U.S. Nationals. And I don't think I need to waste any more breath talking about how great he is. So
I'll add a few more things. So, as you said, he does change up his layout quite often, so we don't know what to expect. I will say I do enjoy his programs a little bit more this season than I have in the past. The short program is to Latin themed music. I always sing along when I hear the mi corazon. And if I remember correctly at Skate America, he just skated it in such a relaxed mindset. Like it was easy and calm. I felt at ease. I wasn't nervous. And same kind of vibe for the free skate, although it was to a much slower music selection. So as long as he keeps his cool and his relaxed vibe, I think he'll be just fine. He also, just as a fun note, he did skate at a holiday show. It was called the Great Park Ice Holiday Show in California. He skated his short program with a mask on. So he's in good shape. And
Yeah,
what
I do
else?
admire anyone who can do that. So
Yeah, I wanted to say one more thing and I can't remember it right now. Let me look at my notes in front of me. Oh, I will say if he has a trouble on anything, it is the triple axle.
that has always been his weak jump. But however, like in the last couple seasons, we've seen it being stronger. But then again, with so many little bit of competitions this season, we never know. But he always comes well prepared and well trained and in well conditioned. So again, like I expect the week's training going in before the nationals will do him
Yeah,
just right and be good.
yeah, it's pretty normal as a Nathan Chen fan to worry about the axle because sometimes even if he lands it, it's not the best landing. Another point I'd like to make is he's not the best spinner. He's a solid spinner. He does the positions just fine. The positions aren't anything unique. America has other men who are amazing spinners we'll talk about coming up. Nathan just needs to make sure that he gets enough revolutions to get the level fours so he can maximize his points if the axle goes wrong and maybe some of the quads. Okay, so let's move on to, I think, talk about who will be fighting for the silver medal because that's the real battle here. Let's start with Vincent Zhou. So he was third at both four continents and the World Figure Skating Championships 2 seasons ago, which is a great accomplishment for Vincent. He's someone who I believe really wants to beat Nathan Chen, really wants that national title so bad. So I just know he puts in a lot of effort into his programs. He is someone who definitely always goes for the quadlets. There's the quadlets triple toe combination in the short and in the free skate as well. And I think it's pretty safe to expect Vincent to throw down 2 quad jumps in his short program, which not everyone does. Some men only do one because he really wants to maximize his points. And I almost think he, in certain parts of his programs, he sells the choreography a little more than Nathan does. You know, you could just tell he pays attention to some of the specific transitions and the footwork, and it really shows. It's really a way of him showing respect to his choreographers. I believe Lori Nickel did the short program to the song Vincent, which a lot of people also call it Starry Starry Night. And then the free skate is something completely different. It gives me a Max Aaron vibe in the best way possible. And I believe that program is choreographed by Misha Gee. So Vincent really is showing us 2 different sides to his skating.
Yeah, I think Vincent and Nathan have been competing with each other since they were very young, so it's kind of nice to see them like fighting it and battling it out each year at the U.S. National Championships. And he is a worthy contender for the championship. It just seems like Nathan's just on another league at this point. However, if Nathan is prone to making mistakes, then there's Vincent, who's a tough competitor and will definitely try to pull out all the stops to get as close, if not to win the championship.
Vincent also
Um,
isn't perfect,
yeah,
though. He does suffer from under rotations, and his
that
performances at Skate America had quite a bit of fall. So he does go for the quadlets. They're not always successful attempts.
yeah, because the new one of the newer rules is very strict on jump revolution. So, and I think Vincent was the one that was getting the most calls on a lot of those under rotations. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how the tech callers make the calls as far as the jumps go. But fairly, he's very consistent on his jumps. So he'll go all those extra stops and try to do the quadlets triple toe and really make it a battle for Nathan to stand up on his quadruple jumps as well. And I think it's kind of great that he's skating to a program that's pretty much like named after him, pretty much. So hopefully that'll give him some inspiration just to like skate that program to the cleanest and to the best of his ability. The free skate is not my cup of tea, to be honest. However, it's what you it's if the athlete can make that program come to life a little bit, I think then the program will speak for itself. It's just not my cup of tea, but again, like he is a worthy competitor. He has the jumps. He actually can spin very well as well. He has great skating quality. Again, he's just competing against Nathan Chen, who's arguably one of the greatest of all time. So
Yeah, I don't expect a lot of people to like both his programs. Starry Night, Vincent, the short program, is very different from his free skate, which I think is to the song Algorithm by Muse. That one's still warming up to me. But what I can appreciate about Vincent, earlier, Kanishka, you mentioned that it's like a battle. Vincent never gives up because he can fall on one quad attempt and then land the next one on the other side of the rink. So this matchdown will be exciting to see. But someone else who really wants to be on the podium, he probably really wants silver too, is Jason Brown. This is going to be an interesting one to discuss because, unlike some of the other men, Jason hasn't had a real live in person competition this season. So, he trains in Toronto, so it was not worth it to go to Skate America with the travel restrictions, and Skate Canada International was unfortunately canceled, so that left him doing one competition, which was a virtual one for the ISP selection pool challenge. So not much to say there, but yesterday a article came out by NBC Sports that focused on Jason Brown, and it actually talked about Jason feeling very unmotivated and a little beat up and torn down by everything that's gone on in the pandemic. And I thought that was really brave of Jason to be so open and honest about the difficulties any athlete must be facing right now.
yeah, we're so used to Jason Brown being so perky and always happy and optimistic, and this kind of like put him back into relatable territory in many ways. Because for the longest time, I was just like, wow, he's so positive, and I'm like, I go through my SHIT. I'm not sure if I can say those words on YouTube, so
Your
I
ups and
found
downs.
my ups and downs. And I'm very honest about it. And he somehow finds the perspective, and he always is always positive about it. So to hear that he actually went through that kind of makes him more relatable. But at the same time, like hopefully, it kind of eventually got the motivation out of him to like really realize that this is something that he loves to do and he wants to compete and continue to challenge himself. Because I know for the longest time we've been saying like we need a quad from you, and then he's been training the quad salchows and the quad toes because he really wants to like be on the same pedestal as Nathan Chen and Yuzuru Hanyu. However, he probably doesn't need all the extra quads as we talk about with Nathan Chen and even earlier with Vincent, because I think that he can rely so much on his beautiful technique, his skating skills, his spins, which are out of this world. And if he can rack up the points technically through those elements alone, I expect him to be at least up there in the 90s on the technical. And then obviously his program component marks or the PCS scores will be at least close, if not even, to Nathan Chen. So second place is not out of the question for Jason Brown, even though we haven't seen much of him this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if at this domestic event, if the judges would actually favor someone like a Jason Brown, even more so than a Vincent Zhou, even if Vincent has the technical advantage.
Yeah, if you haven't read the article, I recommend you find it on NBC Sports. It's very insightful. What that article also did highlight, because there's the light at the end of the tunnel in every sob story. So at the end, it sounds like Jason was able to find his mojo again, and he's training. And you spoke of the quad earlier, Kanishka. He was training the quad sow and toe, but he had a minor foot injury reoccur, but so that he had to halt the training on the elements, unfortunately. But now he's back. He said he wanted to attempt one in the short and one in the long. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but that's very ambitious of him. Also, what's great is that it sounds like his programs are really, really well loved by skating officials. Brian Orser also spoke about being in awe of just the most simple moves that Jason does in his programs. And remember, Brian Orser also coaches Yuzuru Hanyu, the great. And Tracy Wilson also loves it. His short program is To Sinnerman, choreographed by Roheen Ward. And the free skate is to Slaughter on 10th Avenue, which is a ballet piece choreographed by David Wilson. So that free skate combination alone sounds magical. David Wilson and Jason Brown. So I hope it all can come together at nationals. He is absolutely one of the best spinners in the field. He does the Bielman position and even just like a regular sit spin, camel spin. He has such great leg extension and toe point. GOEs are usually really high. And as you said, Kanishka, program component marks are usually up there with Nathan Chen. Sometimes I think they should be higher though. And just his edge, quality, speed, ice coverage, everything. Jason is the entire package. Our friend Mai, who loves Jason Brown, that was for you.
Yeah, and I expect him to be on the podium. So
All right. Well, who was on the podium last year was one of my favorites, Tomoki Hiwatashi. He won the bronze medal. The only thing I can say about Tomoki Hiwatashi is that he just makes me smile. He is the cutest jumping bean ever when he's competing. I'm just so happy thinking about him. He was fourth at Skate America earlier this season. He had a few mistakes, but I will say the jumps that he did land looked a lot more secure than they have in the past. Because in prior seasons, I have said that Tomoki is someone who attacks his jumps so strongly that he has to fight to save the jumps, which is better than letting them go. You get points with the rotations. But at Skate America, when I saw the landings of his jumps, everything was more secure, smooth, and had good running edge coming out of them. I'm really happy for him. You know, the mistakes were sometimes falls and pops, so he'll need to clean up little things here and there. But otherwise, he's just very entertaining. What we can expect from his programs are just big moves that aren't really technical elements. For example, the short program, we'll see like the Russian split, and then in the free skate, we'll see the cantilever, and then he'll end the program with a beautiful Bielman position on his spin.
yeah, the interesting thing about Tomoki is that he's always been on the cusp of making it to the like top three. You know, like I think he was at the top three at nationals, and if I was one of the officials, I would have sent him to Worlds last season if there was to be a
Yeah.
World. However, due to body of work, we sent Vincent Zhou because he was the reigning world bronze medalist and all that. But I think this year is like this past season has been like no other, and I think it's an even playing field right now. So if Tomoki ends up skating really well and earns the third spot on the podium, I think that it'll be a tough decision for United States figure skating. However, personally, I would send Tomoki to Worlds because I feel like these are young talents that might only have one chance to prove themselves, and if we don't send them, then we might be wasting on the talent of our men. And our field here is deep, and I think that's why we have the Nathans, the Vincents, the Tomokis, the Jasons, and the list just keeps going on and on and on because we have so much talent. And I don't want to see us waste talent like Tomoki. So I wish him all the best. He is a great entertainer. He, as you said, he puts a smile on our face. And he's not a newbie anymore. Like, he has international experience. Placed fourth at Skate America, as you said. Top, like, 5 finishes at 4 continents, I think.
I would go with top
So,
10 the past two for
top 10
continents.
finishes at 4 continents. So, like, clearly, like, he has all this potential. And I think that if you don't promote your athletes, you're doing them an injustice. So, go Tomoki, and I hope you prove everyone right, pretty
Yeah.
much, that you have all this talent. So,
In order to offer some critique on the other side, you know, I do
yeah.
think there is room for Tomoki to grow artistically. Obviously, I'm not focused on that right now as someone who loves him. I think he's in a fine position right now. His short program I like a little more. It's to the song Standards, choreographed by Mark Pillay, and then Ben Augusto, former U.S. champion in ice dance, choreographed the free skate. And by the way, Ben Augusto is awesome. He needs to do more commentary for figure skating events.
I agree. I would love to hear some more from Ben, to be honest. So, like,
Yeah.
he did a few years back, and I think that it would be great to see him back, especially because we see Tran all the time now on NBC. So
Yeah,
it would be nice to see Ben get some
yeah. Get some airtime.
airtime. Yeah, he deserves that. So
All right, so next up we can talk about Camden Pulkinen. One word I use to describe Camden all the time is beauty. Beautiful skater, gorgeous lines, posture, leg extension, spin positions, the entire use of his body. He is someone who feels the music rather than just skating along to it. The only thing that really holds him back is the consistency on the jumps. They can get away from him sometimes. But I will say when they're landed, they're usually done so beautifully. It's like one or the other. Like I remember that it was Skate America or the Las Vegas Invitational. He did like a huge triple axel, a nice triple lutz. I've seen him land the quad before. Like I think it was Skate Canada International 2019 or 2020. Yeah, I saw that in person and it's gorgeous. So him stepping on the ice will be a treat for everyone. If he wants a place in the top five, the jumps really need to be on for the most part.
yeah, for Camden, I think it's going to be about like putting two programs back to back clean. He kind of seems to have one or the other because I think at Skate America a few seasons back, or maybe it was last season, I think, he actually had a clean short program and he was in contention for the podium. I think he was like second or third in the short, and then he dropped in the placements in the free skate. So kind of similar to our lady skater like Amber Glenn. Like it seems like if he can like separate the short and the free skate together and just skate them separately without thinking about titles and medals, that might be a good thing for him. Because when he delivers two great programs, then he'll definitely be contending for that top five finish that you just said, Justin. So, and yeah, I agree. And he has great taste in music, by the way. Like, as someone who's followed the sport for many years, like, music is essential. And some people choose the wrong choice of music for their own skating. But however, it seems like Camden has really good taste in music as far as what he skates to every season. So
Yeah, in fact, Joshua Ferris is part of his choreography team. Josh Ferris, almost everyone loves, former US men's competitor. Also had a great ear for music, so it
yep.
makes sense. Camden is going back to his short program from last season, and I don't think that's a bad choice at all. It's a beautiful piece of music, and if it's something he's comfortable with in such a season with so many things that are unexpected, why not?
Yeah, in a season of unexpected stuff, why not go to something that you feel comfortable with?
So we kind of mentioned a few of the men that we thought had a fighting chance for the podium. Now we're going to get into some of the men that will most likely be in the top 10, but want to make it into the top 6. So we'll start with Alex or Alexei Krasnozhon. He has such a strong presence on the ice. He's quite the powerful skater. He had a lot of success as a junior, but I feel like his skating hasn't really come to life since he lost his jumps a bit after an injury a few seasons ago. But he is someone I'll keep my eye out for.
Yeah, like I think prior to that injury, like he was on a whirlwind really, and especially on the junior Grand Prix circuit, he was like the favorite going into the junior world, and of course then he had to unfortunately withdraw. And then I think even last year we saw him struggle a bit. However, he always has been someone that I think the audience can tell has a lot of potential. Um, we just have a very deep field, as I said earlier, Justin. So it'll be about putting two clean free skate, like a free skate in a short program, and he needs the quad. So can he do it? I'm sure he can, and it'll just be interesting to see exactly how everything falls into place with him.
Yeah, if any of you watching also watch Canadian skating, he reminds me of Nicholas Nadeau, both kind of in physical appearance, skating, and in like story on how they moved from junior to senior. And then next up we have Jimmy Ma. Jimmy is someone who I love to watch. He has great energy. It just seems like he's really hard on himself, and I prefer to see him having fun. He's a skater who had the short program to turn down for what go viral on the internet, and I want to see that guy, not that program, but he has such a cool demeanor, cool and calm swagger even on the ice. Sometimes that's lost when he's hard on himself. I just really want to see that magic back in both of his programs. But he does have some experience he's building off of. He's been to Skate America a few times now and been to some Senior B competitions. He has it in him to really throw it down.
That he does. The only thing that I find very interesting is that his programs, which are so outgoing and charismatic and so audience friendly, it'll be interesting to see exactly how he will be able to do with these board cutouts, you know?
If
Like
they
they're not the same.
exist.
Yeah, they're not the same as a live audience, and I think that's something that I totally miss when watching skating this season is like the live audience aspect. So, and he really thrives on that energy. So, like hopefully his teammates that he trains with in Texas, like Ashley and Tim, um,
Amber.
Amber Glenn, like hopefully they can be somewhere in the arena. I'm not sure how things are organized. So, because I think he really thrives on that kind of like support in
Yeah.
order for him to compete. So if he can find some way to like get that mojo back in many ways, like his enthusiasm and energy, I expect him to do great. But at the same time, like we have seen such a hot and cold kind of like seasons from him, especially after the nationals. He got Skate America and then did not do so well, like last season.
Yeah, you do bring up a good point. That audience audio track is so awkward. Like, there needs to be some variety that's played instead of the same thing every single time. But yeah, we'll see how Jimmy Ma, and not just him, the other skaters do when they can't rely on audience engagement.
Yeah, and he's one that really thrives on that. So
Yeah. Next up, we have Jordan Moeller. Our friend Alokia really likes this skater, so happy for her. He is someone who's been away from competition for a few seasons due to an injury. The only thing I have to go off of is that he participated in the ISP Points Challenge virtually. It doesn't look like his jumps are totally consistent yet, but overall, he's a cool guy. He's a really good skater, and he enjoys skating. And that's something I remember noticing about him when he's on the ice. So I'm excited to see him skate at Nationals again.
and you can add me to the list as well as people who are kind of cheering him on his comeback. I think there's something up in Colorado. I think they all have like a lot of great skating skills and a lot of joy and enjoyment when they skate. And I think Jordan kind of epitomizes that at this point. I think he knows that he's kind of like competing for himself, not necessarily for to make a world team or anything like that. And he just seems to enjoy what he does. I think we should commend anyone who just does something for the sake of enjoyment, and it really comes across in programs. And I wish him all the best with his comeback. Like I think that it's going to be difficult, but at the same time, I think if anyone can put two programs down that can be appreciated by the viewer, it's probably going to be like a Jordan Moeller because he kind of brings that old style of skating that we kind of grew up in the 90s and early 2000s with the like I don't know. I kind of miss the old days to some extent. So Jordan Moeller is a nice balance to watch.
You bring up a good point. More people who attend competitions in person make this comment that they like seeing the skaters who are just happy to be there. Because sometimes the athletes who are fighting for the medals, they're more hard on themselves and they're like super focused. Whereas sometimes the skaters who barely qualified or they're just happy that they qualified can have more fun even despite the mistakes that they may make. So you're right. That's something that we can look forward to seeing, especially within Jordan. And then we have to unfortunately talk about some withdrawals, or one I can think of, which is Andrew Torkashev. And it's quite unfortunate because he did take a lot of us by surprise last season when he placed fifth at Nationals with two great programs. I just remember loving his short program, everything about it, the outfit, the feeling, the vibe, the jumps, the choreography, especially the costume. So it's very unfortunate we won't get to see him this year at Nationals.
Yeah, we wish him a speedy recovery. It's unfortunate because when you place fifth at U.S. Nationals, you usually normally get a bye to U.S. Nationals. So the fact that he could not use that spot that he rightfully earned this year to qualify is unfortunate. But as I said, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully maybe taking this season out of all seasons off probably not a bad thing because we do live in a very unusual time these
Yeah,
days. So
we hope to see him back at nationals. And then one other person I want to give a quick mention on is Dinh Tran. I remember he had a clean short program last year at nationals. Same with Andrew Torkashev, very exciting to watch, very like fabulous costume. And one of my friends on Twitter was saying that Andrew and Dinh Tran made the most of an impression on her because they had style on the ice. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned his name because I agree with that too. And then Kanishka, I think this concludes our video. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
of course, thank you for having me, and I hope everyone who's watching is staying healthy and safe during this time, and hopefully we will see you at a competition one day in the future.
Sometime I'm really itching for that competition atmosphere again.
Definitely.
All right, everyone, thank you if you've made it this far. Stay tuned on my channel for more videos coming up soon because we still have to preview both pairs and the dance disciplines for US Nationals. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.